Hi, I'm Nicole, and in this video I will be sharing my second graders curriculum for this school year. Now if you've seen my fourth graders curriculum, a lot of their subjects look very similar because I do teach a few of them, of those subjects. I teach both of them together, so it does look pretty similar to that video. I will try to also share how it is I am scheduling out all of the different books in this that's included in her curriculum. With her, because she is much younger, I may have just a slightly different approach because, as I said, she's younger, and I've learned that, you know, it just is not that necessary to, you know, like for them to feel overwhelmed at this stage. So I'll get into the video now. Alright, so for Bible study, I'll be using the children's Bible stories for bedtime with her as well. But for her, I will be reading the story to her, and then herself and my fourth grader, we would sit down on the floor here and probably go through the reflection and prayer. And knowing my eldest, she will probably be taking part as well. So that's how we are going to be using this, and I'll probably do this 2 days out of the week, and then the other 2 days we will be going back to our coloring pages. We've been using this for quite a few years. The kids really enjoy doing this. I think it's a nice way to start off school. So they color, or they may write in their Bible book, or if I had a coloring activity for them, anyway, and they would listen to one of the plans from my Bible app. Their favorite is Keys for Kids, so they tend to listen to that one. They've listened to that one over and over. But anyway, that's our plan for Bible. Now, I used this, the Bible Made Easy, last year for kids, and the reason why I'm not using it this year is because the stories are, they don't really go in depth into the particular Bible story. It's a very summarized version, and it really is not a good like standalone as a Bible, in my humble opinion. I'm not going to say I will never use it, but I'm not using it as a Bible study for them this year. So that is what they'll be doing for, that's what she'll be doing for Bible. Alright, so as a workbook, she is going to be doing the Brain Quest grade 3. She finished the grade 2. This series I really like. I like the fact that it covers a lot of the different areas, but at the same time it is not like too overwhelming or in-depth, because it's not meant to be used as a curriculum. So it's just a good way to kind of keep them, whether it's occupied or have them refreshing concepts that they might have learned using their main curriculum. We use this on a Friday as, you know, something to do on a Friday, since we don't have whole day school, and also like if it is I'm busy with one and there's nothing else that I can assign to them, I'll have them do something from their Brain Quest. So that's our workbook. All right, so for math, we are moving on to beta. Now, before I get into this, I want to say that when it comes to the videos, I tend to try to have us watch the video the weekend before the school week, just to try and make it where, you know, it runs a little bit more smoothly. If by chance we don't get to do that, then of course I have no choice. We just sit down and watch it. But I do strive to watch the video for the lesson that we're going to be doing that week. I try to watch it the weekend before. Anyway, so the manual for this, I mentioned in my last video, for alpha and beta, I find really don't use the manual that much. At least I have found that to be true, but it really starts to come in handy when you start gamma and they start regrouping. So in the beta book is when Matthew C gets deep into time and money, and that is the one area in Matthew C where I chose to go in a different direction. We used the complete book of Time and Money. I used this with all of my kids, and my younger two, they finished this one this past school year. So I did a video and I shared how we did it. We used to play games. I had a binder set up for them with some clocks, and we also integrated it by using like little timers to have them work on time, and then play with coins and stuff to work on money, you know, tangibly. So that worked out well. So that's probably the one area in Matthew C where I don't have them necessarily complete all of the activities that's included in the book, specifically when it comes to time. Other than that, I tend to use the workbook from cover to cover, and when we are finished with this, then I come back close to the end of the school year and we do the test book sort of as a review for the entire level. Now, because she is younger, she is 7, I do want to mention that sometimes with the little ones, when you're using math, you see, the blocks, they do become a distraction. She still uses the blocks, and my 4th grader, sometimes she used the blocks ever so often, but for her it can become playtime, and I just have to remind her it's not playtime, it's math time, and that might be, you know, have to be said a couple times. So that's something to keep in mind, but I still think that, you know, it's not that big of an issue. So that's what we'll be doing for math. Alright, so for reading, we are working through level 2, all about reading. I am working through this pretty slowly with both her and my 4th grader. They can both read, but I'm just going through teaching the different reading rules so that they can get better with decoding new words. The activity book, I don't use it as much as I used to when I first started the program, but we still use the readers. And ever so often I take a class, and instead of doing a lesson in here, we just go through the phonograms that we've covered before. On the I do this 2 days out of the week, and the other 2 days that I'm not going to be doing this, whilst I am doing the new comprehension book that I'll be doing with my 4th grader, I'll have her work through any lesson in either of these reading comprehension books by Scholastic. Now, this is not absolutely necessary for her to finish or to do all of it. So I do have this, which has really nothing to do with reading, set up for her. She absolutely loves this IQ Builder set. And because she's so young, if it is she doesn't want to do this outside the schoolroom, I have her sit down out there and she can play with this for hours. So that really kind of keeps her occupied. So that kind of goes in, so to speak, with her curriculum, even though it doesn't really have anything to do with reading. So that's her reading for this school year. Okay, so for writing for her, we are continuing with Writing with Ease. I do this with both her and my 4th grader together. We are taking our time and work through it. We have finally got into a little bit of a groove. So this year, instead of doing 1 lesson a day, it is set up for a 4-day school week. Instead of doing 1 lesson a day, what I will be doing is Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'll be doing Writing with Ease, where we do day 1 on its own, then combining day 2 and 3, since it's usually a dictation exercise and copy work, and those really don't take that long, because on Tuesdays for my 4th grader we're going to be introducing cursive, and there's another writing book that I want to try with her. But for her on Tuesdays, I'm going to start introduce her to cursive and see how she does. If she is interested, we're just going to take our dearest time, and she's going to, you know, try doing cursive handwriting. If it is she is frustrated by it, probably just going to put it down and pick it up later. So that's just how I handle cursive with them. So anyway, so that's our plan for writing. Once we are finished with Writing with Ease, then I am going to just swap out the level 2 and add in the level 3 and take it from there. For spelling, we are using All About Spelling. I am using this with both my 4th and 2nd grader together, and we are taking our time and walking through this program. I do have the schedule out for Monday through Thursday. However, in the event that I do need to spend more time, say in grammar, I will, you know, skip spelling for that day and just spend the extra time with grammar, since I do feel comfortable for where they're at with regards to like spelling, like if they're writing stories and the ability to spell simple words. With regards to the cards, because we use the All About Reading, with regards to the All About Spelling cards, we use the blue review cards a lot, but the phonogram cards, it probably doesn't get as much use. I do use them, but not as much, but I use the blue review cards quite a bit. And the spelling word cards, a lot of the words in there they are familiar with, so we really don't use those very much. But I do like this curriculum, and we are taking our time and go through it, and this is what we're using for spelling. Alright, so for logic, we are going to be using Daily Higher Order Thinking, and she is going to be doing the grade 3. We used to do this, the level 1 before, and I had put it down for a while, and we are picking it back up this year. I really do like this series. I like how it incorporates vocabulary, and they get to work on different areas, a little bit of math, geography, science, And quite a few of the exercises in this series can actually be quite challenging. So I really do like this series. Now, we did not have the schedule in because we did not do it last year, but prior, when we used to do it before, after we did 15-20 minutes of Bible study, we will then do 15-20 minutes of logic. And what I will do is that if it is a lesson is, it's pretty tricky and it's taking a while, I'll just have them put a date, put a dash, and then we will finish it the next day. So we will do this Monday through Thursday. And the intention with these Evermore books, at least the way how I use them, is never really to finish it from cover to cover. For the ones that I choose to use, I really do like them. And that's how I make it work for us. So that's what we will be doing for logic. All right, so grammar for my second grader looks exactly like my fourth grader. We are going to be switching to Fix-It grammar. I explained in my fourth grader's curriculum that first language lessons is not going to work for them. So I did my research. I printed out some of the samples, and we did some of it before I actually, purchased the program. So we are going to be using this similar to our logic. This has vocabulary built into it as well, which is something that I do want to work on this year. So I really do like that. So that is what we are going to be using as our main grammar curriculum. Now, once we have gotten a flow of Fix-It grammar, and we have a system working for us, on days where the exercises might be a little bit shorter, I am going to have us, insert this daily paragraph editing by Evermore. I will be using this with all of my kids this year based on their grades. So each of them is doing one that correlates with their grade. As I said before, the only thing that my only gripe with this is that they have the editing key right opposite of the student page. And even though the pages are perforated, if I tear this page out for her to work on, I am actually tearing out the key for the next exercise. So I am not going to tear it apart. I'm probably just going to take a thick piece of cardstock and just put a paper clip and clip it on to hide the answer so that she can work through it, and then I will correct it using the key without having to take the book apart, because with this I don't want to have to do any extra copying. With the Evermore books, similar like with the logic, I don't intend for them to finish this from cover to cover. So anytime we have a short exercise in here, once we get acclimated, that is how we are going to squeeze in this daily paragraph editing. And similar to my fourth grader, actually this came in the mail today, so perfect timing with a dog ear. This is going to be her personal grammar book for her to read, just to help her along the way. So this is going to be what her grammar looks like. All right, so before I get into the subjects that we try to do on a loop, I just want to mention this digging into diagramming, very similar to what I said with my fourth grader, with the exception that for her, she is only going to be listening on. I am not going to have her actually sit down there and try to do any actual diagramming, at least not right now. She's 7 years old. Now, with this, how I'm going to try to fit this in is on a Friday morning. Fridays, we don't do full days of school. We might do a little bit of our workbook, and I have some online stuff that they use, as I said, in my fourth graders curriculum. But in the morning at the table, probably while they're eating or when they're finished, we'll all sit down, my 3 girls and I, and we are going to try giving diagramming a go. Now, when my eldest was doing diagramming, I did try to use this together with a whole lot of YouTube videos when she was doing first language lessons, and we eventually were able to get to the point where she was able to try some of the diagramming that was included in the first language lessons program, but it was after watching tons and tons of YouTube videos. But I'm not going to be using this anymore. That was not easy for me to use, especially since I did not do diagramming in school. Anyway, so we are going to try this book from Jack Crisp Publishing. It does look pretty simple, and we are going to try this together with a playlist on YouTube that I have saved with some diagramming videos. There is a channel called The Grammar Table by a writer called Ellen Jovin. I'm not familiar with her, but she has about 3 or 4 videos on there. And one of her videos I've watched a couple of times, and the other one I think I started to watch it. So we are going to use that together with some others. Hers, I like how she has a visual, she visually, while she's talking, she visually kind of demonstrate how it looks on her iPad. And I do like the presentation of how she did hers. Now, I mentioned in my 4th graders curriculum that the Critical Thinking Company, they actually have a sentence diagramming book as well, but I had already purchased this book earlier on, and it does look pretty simple, so I think I'm going to give this a go first. Hopefully it does work. If not, because they're both inexpensive, I may go ahead and try the book by the Critical Thinking Company. My goal with diagramming is not for us to become expert diagrammers. It is only to kind of introduce us to the concept, even though a lot of, I guess this is not well used, or people don't do diagramming that much anymore. And the reason is I do think that the concept of taking the sentence and breaking it down and then, so to speak, building it back up again, I think that might really help us in this area. So anyway, so that is our plan for this. All right, so for our loops subjects, we do science, geography, social studies, and history. And I try to get to this all 4 days of our school week, Monday through Thursday. I try my best to get to 2. And the way how I will do it is, if we are doing reading or / read aloud in one, then the other one we will watch a video. So if we get to 2 of them, read aloud or writing in one and watching a video in the other. Sometimes we don't get to both of them, and there are times where sometimes we will not get to any of them at all. But that is what that's how I try to get our looped subjects done. Now for history, I am just going to be using the geography and history sections, which is the orange sections in these What Your Kid Needs to Know series. This series has been very helpful specifically for me. So that's what I'll be using for history and geography. Now for history, last year we actually did, as I mentioned in my 4th graders curriculum, we did a few of these well. And this year I probably am going to try to get some of these done for history. So we're going to use a combination of this and this, because last year they actually enjoyed using this, so we'll incorporate that sometime. So that would be history. Geography, they're all using maps and geography, so they're just going to slowly work their way through this until whenever it is finished. So that's geography. For social studies, we are going to be using 180 days of social studies. I had tried this a while ago with my other 2, and I had put it down for a minute. But if there are any areas that I don't agree with, we will just sort of have a discussion on that topic, because it's pretty simple and it gets the job done. So that's how we are going to use this for general social studies. And then for science, we are continuing with God's design. We did the plants already I did the plants already with my youngest, and right now we are mostly using this one as a read aloud, because sometimes we don't get to our loop subjects, or we may not get to 2. I found that we weren't getting enough science done. So at least at this period, we're doing it as a read aloud. Sometimes if they don't want to read, hear me read from this, I would read from right now when you were using that Aesop's Fables. But anyway, for nights that they don't mind us going through this, I do have some vocabulary included in here, where I would just find some related words that goes with the topic, basically descriptive words that might be related, and we would discuss the definitions, some synonyms. I have it written down where it's broken down into syllables for the benefit of my 2 younger kids, and that's how we're using this right now. So that's for science. We are not actually using the test book and all of that comes with this series as yet, at least with them. For right now, I'm just using it mostly as a read aloud. We watch videos on the particular topic, and then later on, I might try to see if I can, pull some more out of that. But for now, that's how we are trying to get that done. All right, so that is what my 2nd graders curriculum is going to look like this year. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching the video, and I will talk to you in another one. Bye.